This is the Expired Podcast. Thanks so much for listening. Make sure you like, follow, share, subscribe, leave a review. You know, give us some stars, whatever.
Act like you like us.
Yeah, we would love that. We love you. And thanks for all the messages we've received with, you know, just commenting on how we can be better. And we appreciate all of those comments.
Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Okay, this week we are talking about Harold Dean Bolick. He was actually born in McDowell County, North Carolina on October 13th, 1931. Man.
Yeah.
1931. We're almost to his birthday.
Mm-hmm.
His parents were Cephas, interesting, Edward, and Edna Florence Radar Bolick. Wonder why his dad's last name is Bolick. Or his stepdad?
His last name is Cephas.
So Edward is his middle name?
Yeah. Cephas Edward.
C-E.
Yeah, he went by C-E.
Okay. And he had 3 siblings, Beatrice, Faye, and Robbie.
Robbie? It was a boy. I don't know. R-O-B-Y.
Maybe it's a typo.
Maybe.
R-O-B-Y?
Yeah, that's how it's spelled.
I was going to say Roby's kind of a cool name.
Yeah, it is kind of cool.
I kind of like it. Mr. Bolick served in the United States Navy during the Korean War. He was a personnel manager at Forest Products, which is a furniture company. They didn't sell furniture, they built furniture.
Right.
And he retired as a personnel manager from Futuristic, Inc. as an active member of First Baptist Church of Morristown, which is a small town. Mr. Bolick had served as a deacon and was active in the Joy Group and other church ministries. He was also active in the Lakeway Senior Circle. I love that.
Oh.
I wonder what they did. They just
probably went out to eat,
Yeah.
played games, or went out to the movies or something. I don't know
It
what
sounds
retired
fun.
people do
It sounds fun.
in retirement groups.
They were a couple in their 70s enjoying their retired life. They did not have children, but they were very involved in their community. They enjoyed walking around the Morristown Mall and hanging out at their senior circle. Walking around the mall. I don't think people do that anymore. It's kind of sad.
I think they do.
You do?
Yeah, I think we're just not there to see it. You
Yeah.
know, it's like they're walking the mall
On the
a
days
Monday
we're not at the mall.
Yeah.
Yeah. I went to the mall on a Saturday recently,
I
which
did
is
too.
weird
I did too.
because I never go to the mall.
I don't like going over.
It was packed.
packed.
Like reminded me of when I was little.
I know.
It kind of made me happy.
Yeah, I went to the candle sale at Bath and
Bath and Body?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. So cute little old couple, just chilling,
Yeah.
living life.
Yeah. So, like we said, Morristown is a very small town in Tennessee. You said you've been there.
Yeah, there's
where it
a
is?
motocross track there.
Oh,
Yeah.
cool. The city has about 2,500 people. It's 5 miles by 5 miles. Very small.
Mm-hmm.
I've read reports that there was a murder before this. But then I also read that this was the first murder in the town. I know that there was 20 to 30 year span. So first murder in a very long time in this town.
Very rare, obviously.
Yeah. So there was this couple, and they were planning to go down to this creek and go fishing. It was at Cherokee Lake, and this is in the early evening. They found a body. 75-year-old Harold Dean Bolick. He had been shot in the back of the head. His body was about 6 feet off this gravel path that went down to the lake, like a lot of fishing spots do.
Mm-hmm.
This was on March 7th of 2007. He wasn't known to have any enemies. There was even a reward of $10,000 offered by the governor at the time, Phil Bredesen, and no leads have come up pretty much ever since then.
That's wild.
It's so wild. The guy who led the case, his name was Gary Dossett. He worked very hard on trying to figure out like why someone would want to kill this 75-year-old man who had no enemies or everyone he talked to.
Yeah, like bad dealings. Or
Right,
anything,
like
yeah.
just a normal guy. He actually hired his father, who had been a retired police officer for 34 years, to solely work on this case and like call people and interview and do all the things. But authorities haven't developed a suspect. Like
Still. That's just crazy. It's so random.
I know.
And seems like very harsh.
Yeah. Killed in the back
For
of
it
the
to
head.
be so random, you know? But Bolick retired 10 years before this happened from a Bean Station furniture manufacturing plant. He lived in Morristown with his wife, Rose, and his life before his death seemed just like really simple, retired living. I love that they didn't have kids and they just did everything together.
Mhm.
It sounds so sweet.
Yeah.
Also, it like speaks to like this is so bizarre. I know we were talking about it beforehand. Like, there's got to be something, you know. Like there has to be something. But basically, like the day that he was killed, shot in the back of the head, he had taken his wife in their 2000 Buick Regal. What a car.
Mm-hmm.
To the Morristown Mall. And he dropped her off there, and it was about 10:30 in the morning. He promised he would return sometime around lunch to pick her up, but he had to go deal with something or do something with the church.
Yeah.
So he drove to First Baptist Church of Morristown, where he volunteered, and then he left the church at about 11:35 a.m., presumably to meet his wife. About 5:30, a man and a woman who were going fishing found his body. It was kind of like full of brush, not like a clear path. It's almost like a trail, you know.
Yeah.
If you don't live somewhere where there's like creeks or rivers or lakes where you go fishing, you can kind of tell where people walk, but it's by no means like neat.
Right.
Like it's not a gravel or like
Driveway.
paved path.
Right.
Yeah. They discovered his body 6 feet away from the water. He'd been shot once in the back of the head at close range, which another, like, it seems harsh. His body was 30 feet from a parking lot at a Tennessee Wildlife Resources Agency lake access area. So in my mind, I'm thinking like Harrison Bay.
Yeah, I'm thinking of like Chester
Frost,
Frost, like
yeah.
where you park and then you walk to the water and
then like before those things are the like TWRA, like
in the
buildings.
bathroom. And
Yeah.
like, yeah.
It's very random.
Yeah. But we have some theories on it. So
Oh yeah, we do.
stay tuned for that.
I feel like we always have theories.
I swear, we'll come in here before we press record and we're like, okay, why would this happen? Okay, here's the reasons.
Uh-huh.
Okay, what if it was this?
What's
and then
plausible?
we'll investigate that.
Yeah.
And then it leads to something else and it's just a spider web. But it's, this is what keeps me up at night.
Yep. Facts.
Yeah. So Andy Dossett, who's Gary Dossett's dad, the guy who was hired to look into things, they determined that Harold Dean Bolick had been killed around noon or 1. So he had to have been killed shortly after he left the church at 11:35. There was no indication that he struggled with his killer. His wallet was missing. I think they later found like the wallet in the water in that lake, Cherokee Lake. But money was missing.
His cards were missing.
Yeah, his cards were missing, but never like
They were
found
never
or
used or anything. Yeah.
Right. But they could have honestly fallen out and like someone thrown, you know, and they just never found it. He wasn't known to like carry a lot of cash or be like flashy with jewelry or anything like that. The wallet was found the next day, but the credit cards were missing and they've never been found. Authorities were unable to identify him until later that night when deputies found the victim's car abandoned about 3 miles away from the lake access area.
The 3 miles?
3 miles. So, weird.
Yeah.
The keys were missing, but nothing else was taken from the car. Like, it just looked like a normal whatever. In the area where the car was left, it is frequented by boaters and walkers and, people that are around.
Mm-hmm.
But no one has come forward to say who could have abandoned the Buick there.
Mm.
Yeah.
Something had to have, lured him there in the first place, but then also to be, 3 miles away.
Mm-hmm. Or someone forced him to the lake, shot him, and took his car somewhere else.
Yeah. It's weird.
Yeah.
We don't really get cases like this.
No, we don't.
So, after they found his car and were then able to identify him, the car was sent via flatbed truck to Nashville for a thorough examination by a TBI forensic team. They found absolutely nothing. Bolick didn't. I'm assuming they learned this from people that knew him and his wife, but that he didn't pick up hitchhikers, and that there was no indication that he stopped at any of the businesses that are along the highway. Gary Dossett said a lot of people knew him, but no one had anything at all that was bad to say about him. That's what Andy, the dad, said. It appears to be a robbery, but I don't know enough to say that yet. That's what Gary Dossett said. And then both of them agree that obviously somebody knows something, but no one's talking.
Yeah.
So. One thing I did read that I found interesting, and I know they were a religious couple and practiced their religion on a regular basis, but the wife would never speak to the press.
Yeah.
And she had even asked the pastor of the church to also not speak to any of the press.
Yeah.
And I think the statement she made was I've just left it to God. Almost like she doesn't want to talk about it anymore, or she's working through it on her own.
Mm-hmm.
And I just felt so bad for her thinking about that. Now she's alone. They didn't have kids. He's gone. Who's she walk around the mall with now?
Hopefully her friends at the senior center,
circle. Yeah.
Or her church friends.
Yeah.
Well, she is now deceased, so she's back with him, if that makes you feel any better.
It does, but I just feel bad she didn't have anyone to talk to about it, type of thing. But maybe she made peace with it with her creator. And that's why she didn't want to just keep hashing it out.
So, you're in your 70s, you've thought about your partner. I think about it now when I'm in my 20s. What if my partner died?
What would I do?
Yeah.
First of all, I'd be single forever.
You would be. You would be.
I am not signing up to deal with anybody else's shit, and I'm not sure anybody would sign up to deal with mine.
That's true. Taylor's a good one for sure. So, what do you think happened?
Immediately, my thought is, since he's retired and had been retired for 10 years, to me, it doesn't have anything to do with work or profession. Really, but I don't foresee it's not the first thing that pops in my mind that's oh, somebody in the senior circle.
Yeah.
No, that, to me, that's just so bizarre.
I asked this question. I gave the scenario of this story on our socials, and I was like, what happened? And the biggest comment we got was love or money.
Money.
Those are big ones.
Mm-hmm.
And what was the other one? Love, money, and if he had a secret, if
there was a secret life or something, another part of,
or he knew a secret.
No, and that's me. I'm what did he know?
Yeah.
what did he know that whoever it was about did not want it to get out or didn't trust him to not say anything? Like, what did he find out? What did he come across? What did he witness? Something like that. Like, he knew too much. Besides that, it would really just be money. But
he's not a flashy guy.
Yeah.
Like, he's retired. He can't have that much money on him.
Right.
It was like another.
And they lived such a simple life,
Yeah.
too. And they didn't have kids, so it's not like a life insurance thing. The way that he was murdered, I definitely am not suspecting his wife.
No, she was at the mall. It could have been a dumb teenager or someone on drugs.
Yeah, because we've seen that plenty of times.
We've seen that plenty of times.
But never really, like, older people. You know, it's always usually...
Yeah, it's usually young people or, like...
someone connected to them.
Yeah.
Like, family, friends, whatever it is.
Mm-hmm. But that's not it.
No.
So, I was immediately thought, the church.
Yeah.
There's always scandals in churches.
There always is. And you have to look at the place where the person spent the most time, knew the most, had the most connections with other people.
Mm-hmm.
And also, unfortunately, churches, there's shady stuff that goes on in churches.
Yeah.
And it's usually financially driven.
Yeah.
So, to the research we went.
So I just looked up the First Baptist Church of Morristown.
Yeah.
Looks like a fantastic church. They have all kinds of like different nights, like spaghetti night, widow night.
Yeah.
Big church.
Like an all-encompassing.
Nice, yeah. Like
yeah.
just, nothing to knock about the church.
Yep.
But in 2010,
mm-hmm.
2 people were connected in stealing $1.5 million from this church. Barbara Witt was 69. Her son, Michael Dean Witt, was 43. They're both from Morristown. She was the financial secretary at the First Baptist Church of Morristown. So she handled all the money.
Mm-hmm. Till they figured this out in 2007, which is when
Harold
was murdered.
And the last place he was seen was at the church. Did we just crack the case?
But for real.
I know.
Like,
I feel like we should call Gary Dawson and give him this.
I think so too. Like, hey man.
Crazy.
2 and 2 here.
Yeah.
And he volunteered at the church too. So like that could mean he was everywhere in the church,
mm-hmm.
doing whatever,
mm-hmm.
seeing whatever, hearing whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
mm-hmm. I would love to know if Barbara was, yeah, that. But was Barbara there that day? Was she at the church that day? And if, don't you in 2007, would you have clocked in at a church, or do you just? Yeah,
no, you do, one way or another. But considering the position that she held, it's like work for anybody. Like, you've got to show up every day. The pastor, minister, preacher, especially in Baptist churches, or really any Christian church,
they're there a lot
every day. Yeah,
my uncle was a pastor.
Yeah, you show up every single day.
Yeah,
and the bigger the church, I would say, the more
people and
the more employees and all that stuff. So I'd be shocked if she wasn't there.
I'd be shocked if these two things were
not connected. Right?
Yeah.
Because he was literally murdered in 2007. That is when...
3 years later is when she was indicted. So right after that is when she got caught.
Yes. So he knew something.
Yeah.
And I think it has to do with that. I really do.
Because it's such a small town. What?
It's very, very plausible. There's not another
alley to go down. There's
there's no other avenues that are even giving enough to explore.
Yeah.
This one though, it's full of it.
Yeah.
full of it. Like, duh.
We should call Gary Dawson.
Oh my God. But like, if he hasn't looked into this.
Maybe he has and we just haven't heard about it.
Maybe.
I don't know. Not a lot of people. I didn't find a single podcast episode anywhere on Harold Dean Bolick. So it's such a small case.
I guarantee, like, if I were to literally think in my head, like, what exactly happened. Drops his wife off at the mall, goes to the church, witnesses or hears or finds something, and Barbara is there and knows that he has found something or saw something or heard something. He goes to leave. She is acting like nothing is going on. She calls him and is like, my son he went fishing and, his car broke down or he needs a ride or whatever. He goes there and the son is there to kill him.
I want to look into the son too, if he has any other criminal history.
Yeah. Because if this isn't it, then this is really one of the most strange cases I've ever.
Yeah.
It's so A, B, C, D. But like, there's nothing there.
I don't know. What are your theories? Please let us know.
Or if you're from there and you know about this or like anything, because this is very mesmerizing for me. Like, I could just think about it all day and like go into a lullaby type thing. Like, just. And
I love hearing other people's
something
thought about what happened.
Yeah, like something that would never cross my mind.
Yes.
Yeah.
I love that. So
yeah, me too.
Like, follow, share, subscribe, leave a review. New episodes of the Expired Podcast are out every Monday at 6. You can get early access to the podcast on YouTube.
If you're going to be an asshole, be a funny one.
Don't do drugs and kill people. It's just not cool. It's not cool.
It's not cool.
This is the Expired Podcast.
Bye.